The goddess of connection, Venus, squares the god of hard work and responsibility, Saturn, between Friday, October 25th, and Wednesday, October 30th, bringing delays, restrictions, frustrations, harsh reality checks, and a sense of disconnect in our relationships. Let's take a closer look and break it down for all 12 signs. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer specializing in natal, relationship, and predictive readings. If you enjoy my work, please take a few seconds to show your support by leaving a like, a comment, subscribing, pressing that notification bell. You can also watch another one of my videos or say thank you by buying me a coffee, a tea, a croissant. Thank you so much for doing that. Before we dive in, if you're looking for a personal consultation, you have questions you'd like me to answer, you can book a reading on my website, anastasiadoesastrology.com. My bookings are currently open for November, and we can discuss your natal chart, talk about your relationship compatibility, your year to come, and more. Additionally, on my website, you can find a variety of products I create. The biggest one I'm promoting currently is my 2025 astrological planner, the follow-up to my 2024 creation. This planner captures all of the important transits, all of the important lunations, helps you set your intentions, helps you navigate difficult times, and also even has like a quick sort of guideline, educational opening, sort of few pages. I put my heart and soul into it, and I created it because I wanted to have something for myself, because as an astrologer I track everything, and this just helps keep things organized and helps me, a true Virgo soul, keep very detailed lists. My 2024 planner has been like used through and through. So definitely pick one up. On my website, you can also find my astrological creations, such as Venus in Libra 2, Venus in Libra 3 candles. Venus in Libra is Venus in the sign of rulership. She is at ease with herself. She's happy. She loves herself, and she is not going to agree to anyone treating her with disrespect, right? This can help smooth out any wrinkles in your relationships, help you get along, get inspired, find connection, and find creative success as well. Check out my website for that. Highly, highly recommend this for anyone born with their Venus in Virgo, Aries, or Scorpio. Signs of fall and detriment. If your Venus is retrograde in your natal chart, if it's hiding in the dark house 6th, 8th, or 12th, and if it's making difficult aspects like square or opposition to Mars, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. So thank you for listening. Sorry for the outside sounds. Unfortunately, I do not have any control over them. As much as I would like, it's not possible to like tell them to stop and them listening to me, but sometimes they do stop. So we're talking about Venus squaring Saturn. The exact square occurs on October 28th at 9:34 a.m. at 12:58, between 12:58 degrees Sagittarius and 12 degrees 58 minutes of Pisces. So you're likely to feel it the most if you have planets between 10 and 16 degrees mutable signs. Those are Sagittarius, Gemini, Pisces, and Virgo. Overall, we usually give 3 days on each side for these transits, depending on how fast the planets are moving. But for Venus and Saturn, you start to feel this energy on Friday, October 25th, and then it sort of slowly goes away by Wednesday, October 30th. So by Halloween, we'll be done with it, which is good news. Venus is the goddess of love, the goddess of connection. She wants people to get along. She wants to have a good time. She wants us to enjoy life. Saturn is the planet that reminds us that there is work we have to do before we can abandon our duties. So when the two square off, and square is a challenging aspect, it creates tension. You can think of it as like two cars at an intersection. They can't go at the same time. One has to go first and then the other. So when we're dealing with this difficult aspect, there is always a need for compromise. And with Saturn, there's likely a need to say no to something. So sometimes you have to temporarily say no to going out, or say no to hanging out with your partner because you have work responsibilities. So sometimes Venus in the square to Saturn adds stress to your relationship because for some reason you can't be with your partner. Sometimes there is, maybe you're in a long distance relationship and they thought they can come and see you, but something happened and they're now delayed. There might be tensions in relationships because of how hard you are on yourself, maybe how fearful you are of trusting, how critical you are of yourself or your significant other. Venus also represents creativity and inspiration, so feeling like your creative project is not good enough or you're sort of dealing with an imposter syndrome at this time is also quite likely. And like I said, you gotta compromise. So with Venus and Saturn together, you have to, you sort of have to make sense and decide for yourself that it cannot be one of these 100%, right? You cannot just have a good time around this transit without any sort of consequences. And you cannot just focus on the negatives and like work nonstop without any sort of depression. And that's where the difficulty comes in, right? Like if you just have a good time and forget about Saturn will slap you in the face. Will slap you over your head and be like, no, duties, hard work, leave this place, go do work, right? And if you're doing too much Saturn, then you're feeling depressed and lonely and vulnerable. And so, it is normal for humans to swing back and forth between a variety of emotions. So it is possible that you're going to swing in one direction too hard versus the other. But the positive ways of working through this transit involve talking about commitment, bringing those serious, heavy topics and trying to find a compromise, right? If you and your partner, let's say, are in a long distance relationship and you feel ready for the next step, maybe it's the time to discuss it. Maybe it's the time to be honest and say like, hey, this is not quite working out for me. How can we move forward? Creatively, right? Like Venus and Saturn can allow you to have that critical eye, but instead of scraping the entire project you've been working on, maybe it's a chance to work on perfecting it and sort of, bit by bit, kind of harnessing the Saturnian energy and adjusting, editing, reviewing. So it could be really good for commitment if you're willing to be honest and vulnerable. And it could be quite great, I think, also for self-expression, work, and creativity. Once again, if you're willing to like take criticism or feedback you're getting from other people and not fall apart. If you're willing to not be too hard on yourself, you just have to, once again, be sure that you're not like swinging too heavily into one direction or the other. Let's take a look at the 12 rising signs. And as always, if you're looking for a personal consultation, you have questions, only a one-on-one reading with me will answer. Book one at anastasia.astrology.com. Starting with Aries rising, Venus in your 9th house will square Saturn in the 12th. And you're dealing with some kind of tensions involving your mental health, involving burnout, involving things outside of your control, affecting your plans to travel, your desire to study, your school schedule, your legal matters that you're involved in, or your writing project, right? So let's start backwards. So if we're talking about your writing project, Venus in the 9th maybe wants to write, wants to publish work and express itself. And then the square to Saturn suggests that you get pushed back. Something, once again, outside of your control tells you not yet. Take a step back, rethink, don't get discouraged. It's not a forever no. It means that things are possible. You just have to be patient. If it's a travel, you had a plan, but then you get sick or somebody gets sick, maybe reschedule. Saturn in the 12th might also reveal your self-destructive, self-defeating tendencies. Something bad happens and you get really, really hard on yourself. Or something bad happens and you escape into an addictive behavior. So Saturn will offer opportunities to heal and move through these challenging emotions instead of fall down into the depth of despair. Please share how it resonates. If you're looking for more, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com and pick up my 2025 planner on my website. If you are a Taurus rising, Venus in your 8th house will square Saturn in the 11th. And here you're maybe dealing with some kind of pressures involving your friendships, involving your role in the community, your social status, your responsibilities to others, affecting your inner state, affecting your finances as well, right? This could be you were gonna invest in you were gonna start like a joint bank account with your partner, or you were gonna buy insurance, and then Saturn in the 11th could be like your friends disapproving of what you're doing, or your friends telling you that you owe them, right, or something. So having to navigate these kind of like one-on-one dynamics and what you want to do in a partnership with your business partner, your romantic partner, versus duties you have to other people, even like honestly versus your vision of yourself in the world. Something might be not quite adding up between what you're trying to accomplish and how much money you have, or how much time you have, or how much resources you have. So this is like a reality check and an opportunity to get things more leveled, right? It's okay to not maybe get 100% of what you want, especially if you're getting to maintain some of your sanity and not totally like destroying your bank account in the process. Please share how this resonates, and if you're looking for a personal reading, book one at anastasiadoesastrology.com. My November bookings are currently open. If you are the beautiful Gemini rising, Venus in your 7th house will square Saturn in the 10th, and you're dealing with the pressures of your career affecting your relationship. And this could be your relationship with your child, your relationship, especially if you're a single parent, your relationship with your romantic partner for sure, your business partner, but also maybe your nanny, or sort of like significant partnership that you're involved in, right? Venus in the 7th square Saturn in the 10th. Like you are hanging out with your significant other, you're planning to maybe move in together, and Saturn in the 10th is your job, your boss, like an authority figure telling you you have to move to another state for your job, or just overloading you with responsibilities. And so if that is the case, perhaps it's your chance to be honest and decide whether there's a way to compromise, right? Like, can you maintain the relationship and talk to your partner and be like, hey, this is temporary? Or do you feel like the job is maybe, or your work situation is too difficult and needs to be released? It can also be a little bit about like, you know, Venus in the 7th and you really want to date, but you feel like you're not ready, or you're not sort of good enough because of what's happening, what the stresses you're going through professionally. Like if you're looking for a job, maybe you feel like you can't be dating because you're not in the place you're at. And so once again, there's a need to compromise and not be too hard on yourself. Please share how this resonates. If you're looking for more, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. For the lovely Cancer rising, Venus in the 6th house will square Saturn in the 9th. And here you're dealing with your desire to get along with your colleagues, your desire to maybe take care of your health and eat better, versus some kind of like stresses, tensions, pressures involving education, travel, writing, legal matters. So with work, right? Like let's say you're working on a project and everything seems nice, and then the square to Saturn is like people you're relying on that are not doing their jobs. Or you're getting ready to eat healthy, and then Saturn in the 9th is like your teacher giving you a really sort of difficult grade or giving you extra assignments, and you feel like now you can't fit meal prep and work that you have to do. So some kind of pressures there. And I wonder too with Saturn in the 9th if if you are encouraged to open yourself up and think about things differently and not just kind of, because Saturn in the ninth is also transforming. It's not just transforming your education sector, kind of dealing with travel matters, but it's also reshaping how you address things and how you react to things and how you view yourself as well, I think. If you are the lovely Leo rising, Venus in the 5th house will square Saturn in your 8th. And Saturn in the 8th house represents frustrations, tensions, stresses involving money, debts, loans, taxes that are impacting your creative projects, your romantic relationship, even your view of parenthood, right? Like Venus square Saturn in the 8th is Venus in the 5th square Saturn in the 8th is like you're ready to become pregnant. You feel like it's time. You are, and pregnant, replace pregnancy with anything else, right? Like you're ready to move to Bali to be a yoga teacher, or you're ready to start a band or something. And then Saturn in the 8th is like, no, you still have debts to pay. Not right now. You have to be more strategic. You have to be more careful. So certain delays involving resources, involving finances, involving debts might feel frustrating right now, but it's not a reason to give up on things. It's just an invitation to take a step back and reconsider. And if you're looking for a personal reading, you have questions you'd like me to answer, book a reading at my website, Anastasia.astrology.com. I can look at your natal chart, your year to come, your relationship, and more. If you are a Virgo rising, Venus in your 4th house will square Saturn in the 7th. And here you're looking at your desire to maybe hang out at home and stay all cozy and comfortable versus the duties you have to your relationship. Maybe, you want to stay at home, but your partner their cousin is getting married and they're sort of telling you, okay, we're going to this wedding, and you don't really want to. Or you are focusing on beautifying your home and taking care of your home, and Saturn in the 7th is the partner disagreeing with you. It might also be the fact that like you would rather invest into upgrading your bathrooms, sort of remodeling your bathrooms. And Saturn in the 7th is the fact that the partner is going through a bit of a difficult time. Maybe they just lost their job. So tensions involving relationships affecting your peace of mind, affecting your real estate plans and your home decoration plans, or even like your disagreements between your partner and your family might be present around this time. And if you're single, I wonder if this is also kind of like an opportunity to examine how your relationship with your family, how your childhood and sort of early traumas are impacting your present and your romantic life. Share how this resonates. If you're looking for more, book a reading on my website, Anastasia.astrology.com. For the lovely Libra risings, Venus in the 3rd house will square Saturn in the 6th. And this feels like an issue between your everyday life and your sort of everyday pleasures. Venus in the 3rd house is you wanting to talk about something you like, or wanting to have a fun day, wanting to hang out with your sibling or go out to a neighbor's party. And Saturn in the 6th is like heavy workload. And then of course, try to figure out how to compromise, right? You can't completely forget about your workload, but work will always be there. Or Saturn in the 6th can bring up a health issue that like, Venus in the 3rd, you were going to start a business, and then Saturn in the 6th is like, not before you handle this. Or your responsibilities to other people like kids or your spouse or your elderly parents, depending on you. So very much an invitation to balance the scales. Luckily, as Libra rising, you are pretty good at that. Please share how this resonates. If you're looking for more, book a reading at Anastasia.astrology.com. I'd be happy to discuss your natal chart, your year coming up, or your relationship. And my bookings are open for November. If you are the beautiful Scorpio rising, Venus in your 2nd house squares Saturn in the 5th. And you feel somehow limited in the way you make money, or in the way you can spend money because of the responsibilities you have to your children. Maybe you just had a baby or you're about to have a child and you cannot spend as freely. Or maybe you have some kind of disagreement between your desire to go on a trip and your partner's sense of we need to save for buying a home. Or there's a creative project that you are very kind of like serious about. You might also be dealing with some kind of conflicts of values involving money, involving parenthood, like you and your partner disagreeing about educating your children or something like that. Even some kind of disagreements around your vision when it comes to a creative project, like maybe you and your creative buddy, creative partner don't see things the same way. And so instead of throwing your hands up in the air and walking away, try to look for a chance to compromise and sort of figure things out and get along. Please share how this resonates. If you're looking for more, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. For the lovely Sagittarius rising, Venus in the first house will square Saturn in the fourth. And here, your personal joy, your desire to change your look, update your wardrobe, start a creative project, gets restricted by your duties to your family. Maybe an elderly family member needs you and you were gonna go on vacation, but now you can't. Or you were gonna move alone into your own apartment. Once again, you cannot because your family relies on you. Saturn in the fourth can also suggest that there is some childhood wounds that you haven't quite processed. Like there is something that is weighing down on you and affecting you. And so maybe things that you're not choosing to look at, things that you're choosing to avoid. There is some kind of a sense of like heaviness and responsibility involving home, family, real estate. Maybe it's also like you would rather go out dancing, but your child is sick and they need you. And so, you know, look for ways to compromise. Try to be honest with yourself. You can't just abandon a sick parent or a child. But maybe there's a way to figure out like a better dynamic going forward where you will have some kind of freedom to do things that you want to do. Please share how this resonates. If you're looking for more, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. If you are the lovely Capricorn rising, Venus in the 12th house will square Saturn in your 3rd house. And here, your desire to get away, your desire to rest, your desire to focus on spiritual pursuits, on creativity and imagination, to escape somehow, is at odds with your duties to your siblings, with your schedule, with your business. There may be some kind of miscommunication issues that arise that you need to handle, or your business really needs you, or a sibling relies on you and keeps texting you. And so I wonder here, what do you need to rethink in your everyday life? What kind of responsibilities do you need to keep versus which ones you need to let go of? And where do you need better boundaries so that other people respect your time and your desire to get away more, because you totally deserve to rest and not always be on and always work hard. If you're looking for a personal reading, please book one at anastasiadoesastrology.com. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have and analyze your natal chart, your relationship compatibility, or your year coming up. If you are the lovely Aquarius rising, Venus in your 11th house will square Saturn in the 2nd. And this might not be a new theme, because Saturn has been in your 2nd since March 2023. But this feels like your desire to have fun, your desire to see friends, your desire to start new projects and to grow and expand, somehow constricted by the reality of your financial situation, by what is actually in your bank account. And maybe even your desire to connect being contradicted by what you believe in, right? Venus in the 11th, maybe you're invited to a party and you really want to go, but Saturn in the 2nd reminds you that these people don't support the childhood reform that you're trying to get approved, or something that you're really, childcare, let's say, reform that you're really behind. So questions of like values, finances, resources you have available affecting your project, affecting your friendships. And once again, a need to compromise, a need to maybe like recommit to something, a need to postpone some things and have some honest conversations if you feel like those might help. If you're looking for personal guidance, you have questions, a one-on-one consultation with me might answer, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com and pick up my 2025 planner. It's the time to do it. Last but not least, if you are a Pisces rising, Venus in your 10th house will square Saturn in the 1st, and you're having to deal with some kind of restrictions around your own sense of self-worth, your health, and your maybe rigidity on some level impacting your professional growth. So, you know, an example might be you get a promotion, or there's this exciting project and you can't take it because you are sick, or because you feel like you haven't grown enough, you haven't accomplished enough, you have more to go, more to grow, more to learn. So beware of being kind of this person that restricts yourself, because with Saturn in the 1st, you might do that. And pay attention to things that you really need to take care of, right? Because if there is some kind of health matters or past challenges or schedule, sort of heavy schedule things that affect your ability to expand and grow professionally, maybe it's the time to examine those and let some of those go and like figure out what is worth your time, because your time is precious. Your time is limited on this earth and in the job you're at, right? And your youth and everything like that. Please share how it resonates. If you're looking for more, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. And thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I've been away in October, so I made these videos ahead of time. I hope you are enjoying them. Please comment, please subscribe if you haven't yet, because all of that helps me grow. It encourages YouTube algorithm to be more friendly, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.